Hi there, my name's Andrew Dunn. I'm co-host of the Media Lunch Break podcast. This week on the podcast, we're talking about a movie called Masked and Anonymous, which was written by and stars Bob Dylan. I thought it'd be a nice companion video to talk a little bit about my favorite Bob Dylan lyrics. In this video, we're covering numbers 41 through 22. All right, let's do it. Number 41. Human gods aim for their mark. Make everything from toy guns that spark to flesh-colored Christs that glow in the dark. It's easy to see without looking too far that not much is really sacred. There's another one from It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and whoa, what a line. So let's start picking this apart. It starts with sacrilege, human gods. Whereas if you believe in the whole Christian thing, you believe that there has only ever been one human god. And that is Christ. But these human gods make everything from toy guns that spark to flesh-colored Christs that glow in the dark. And what he's saying there is that the same people who will sell you a toy will sell you something that makes you feel good about religion. And in doing so, they're profiting from that. And then he says it's easy to see that not much is really sacred because people are profiting on the pious, the religious, the spiritual, the divine. The sacred is not what's important to us, but the capital is. Number 40. The sword swallower, he comes up to you, and then he kneels. He crosses himself, and then he clicks his high heels. And without further notice, he asks you how it feels, and he says, "Here is your throat back. Thanks for the loan." There's another one from Ballad of a Thin Man. Absolutely drug-induced in a fever dream of some kind. But the main thing about this lyric is the beginning and the end. It's a sword swallower. He's swallowing sword. He's cutting up his lungs. He's cutting up his neck. He's doing whatever he wants. And then at the end, he gives his throat back to you and says, "Thanks for letting me borrow that." I'm not even really sure what it's about. I don't know if it's about anything, but there's just an interesting metaphor in people taking parts of you, using them, damaging them, and then giving them back when they're done. Number 39. The National Bank at a profit sells roadmaps for the soul to the old folks' home and the college. This is a line from Tombstone Blues, and it's about how banks will sell you literally anything for a profit. And they'll target the most vulnerable people. Old people and young people. And honestly, that tracks! Number 38. They asked me for some collateral, and I pulled down my pants. God bless America. I added that last part. That last part isn't in the line. There's another one from Bob Dylan's 115th Dream. I just love that song so much. And my favorite thing about this line is he goes into a bank to get some money to pay for bail so he can get his friends out of jail, and they ask him for some collateral. In response to that, he drops his pants to the ground. Now here's my question. Does he do that because that's his collateral? Or is he mooning them? Is he showing his butt in front of God and everybody? Is it more of an F you to the bank because they're not going to help him get his friends out of prison when they've done nothing wrong? I don't know which one it is. Honestly, I'm not sure, because the very next thing that happens is the bank throws him out on the street. But it's an interesting question. It's always confused me. I've always wondered that. For the last 15, 20 years, I've always wondered that. Number 37. For them to think death's honesty won't fall upon them naturally, life sometimes must get lonely. This is another one from It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, which, as I've said before, I think has probably the strongest lyrics out of any of Dylan's songs. They just are so good. They have a lot of weight to them. There's a lot of metaphor. This is no exception. For them that think death's honesty won't fall upon them naturally. So death is honest. Death is a lot of things. A liar is not one of those things. And he's saying it must be lonely to believe that you will never die. I don't know if that's true. It sounds pretty cool to me. But you know, it's a cool line though. Number 36. People carried signs around saying ban the bums. I jumped right in line saying I hope that I'm not late when I realized I hadn't eaten for 5 days straight. There's another one from Bob Dylan's 115th Dream. Interesting to point out that he is getting in line to get rid of homeless people. I assume that's what he means by bums, or maybe people who take advantage of the government, or I don't know. I don't know how you define a bum specifically. I think it's kind of a general, vague term intentionally. But he's getting in line to ban the bums, which is a play on the phrase ban the bomb. And he realizes he hasn't eaten in 5 days, which one might say could make him a bum. Just throwing it out there. This is a person who's a little hypocritical, I think, in his actions don't meet what he's saying, right? Could also be touching on the idea that so many people go against their best interests politically. They may vote for politicians that don't actually have their best interests in mind, or, you know, whatever it is. We all know those people. Number 35. They whisper in the wings to those condemned to act accordingly and wait for succeeding kings. and I try to harmonize with songs the lonesome sparrow sings. There are no kings inside the gates of Eden. This is from the song Gates of Eden. Great song, one of his earlier ones. Reminds me a lot of Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. The whole plot, I'm about to ruin this play for you. Sorry in advance. It's a million years old. But the whole plot is there are these two guys who have been waiting forever for Godot. There's a widely held belief that these two gentlemen are actually waiting for God. Maybe they're in purgatory or something, but the person they're waiting for, known as Godot, is actually God. I know, it's sneaky. But the point is that the play seems somewhat cyclical, like the end could be the start of the beginning of the play again. It could just go on forever because this guy never shows up. And so someone here is whispering in the wings to people who are condemned to wait for succeeding kings. And the last line in that verse is, there are no kings inside the gates of Eden. So they're waiting, and they're going to be waiting forever. Sort of Sisyphusian as well, just constantly hoping that something good is going to happen, and it never does. It's kind of sad. Number 34. Even the President of the United States must sometimes have to stand naked. This is from It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and is not about Bill Clinton. But it sounds like it could be. This is kind of reminiscent of the same message in Gotta Serve Somebody that Dylan wrote, where even the president has to be himself. He has to show his true colors at some point. I don't know if that's true, but it's a nice sentiment, and I do agree with it to an extent. I don't know that specifically the president does, but I feel like almost everybody gets to a point where they figure out who they really are, and the walls just have to come down. I feel like we've all been there at some point in our lives. Number 33. I hope that you die and your death will come soon. I'll follow your casket on a pale afternoon. I'll watch while you're lowered down to your deathbed, and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. This is from the song Masters of War. It's about finding the people who are responsible for putting our kids, our friends, our loved ones at the front of the battlefield in harm's way. The people who are being drafted, forced to serve their country. I mean, they're not anymore, but they were when this was written. And it's literally just Bob Dylan saying, I want to find the people who are responsible for this and fucking murder them. It's wild, dude. He's known for his like, hey, can't we all get along? The answer's blowing in the wind. The times they are changing, baby. Everything's free. Everything's happening. And this, he's like, except for those people, fuck them. Number 32. How did I meet you? I don't know. A messenger sent me in a tropical storm. This is from the song Sarah. There's a lot of juxtaposition and contradiction and a lot of stuff happening in this very, very small line, which I love. It's easy to pick apart, but it's literally like, it's two lines. How did I meet you? I don't know. So he doesn't remember how he met Sarah, but he does remember that a messenger sent him, which is odd because you generally send a messenger. Messengers aren't usually like, ah, man, I don't want to do my job today. Hey, can you do this? But maybe that's what happened and he's remembering it, but he also says he doesn't remember. It's a wild thing. That's why it's higher up on this list, because it says a lot in a very short amount of time. Number 31. I'll let you be in my dreams if I can be in yours. This is from Talkin' World War III Blues, a song about Bob Dylan having a dream where World War III has happened and he is in the post-apocalypse. This line comes right after he fumbles over a quote by Abraham Lincoln. It's a very funny line. I think it's meant to be funny, where he says, some of the people can be all right part of the time, part of the people can be all right some of the time, but all the people can't be all right all the time. I think Abraham Lincoln said that. And it's a very funny line. And he covers it with, I'll let you be in my dreams if I can be in yours. I said that. And the point of that is he says everybody thinks of themselves and only themselves. In the song, he has this dream and he goes to a therapist and the therapist says, wait a minute, I had the same dream, but it wasn't you in my dream. I was the only person left in the world walking around in this post-apocalyptic hellscape. And none of us are envisioning the other people who would inevitably be there. It's just us. We're focused on us. But I'll let you be in my dreams if I can be in yours. Number 30. Goodbye is too good a word, babe. So I'll just say, fare thee well. God, I love that line. That's from the song Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. Goodbye is too good a word to use for you. So I'll say fare thee well, which to me seems like just as good a word. In fact, maybe better. Fare thee well is quite nice, actually, I think. But maybe it's that it's a goodbye. If we're going to like hyper analyze this, he doesn't want to give a goodbye to someone. The song talks about, it's very clearly like a breakup and it doesn't end well. They're not on good terms. So goodbye's too good a word, babe. So I'll just say fare thee well. On a side note, there's a live version of Ben Lee doing this song, who's an Australian musician, and he gets to this part and extends it and screams out "Fare thee well," and it is heart-wrenchingly beautiful. But I've always really liked that line. Number 29. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. This is a line from the song Joker Man. Again, another one that is very short but says a lot in a short amount of time. Fools rush in, but angels are afraid to go in there. So, and it's sort of, angels are afraid to go in, so who would go in? Idiots. I mean, it sort of makes sense. It's not super complicated, but fools rush in where angels fear to tread. It's a beautiful line. Number 28. Behind every beautiful thing, there's been some kind of pain. This is another line from Not Dark Yet. It's beautiful, and I believe it's probably true. It's easy to look at supermodels or movie stars and think like, well, their lives are so good, they haven't suffered. But then you read about like Keanu Reeves and how like his first girlfriend died in a car crash, and just horrible stuff that has happened to people. And that's not to say that like other people aren't suffering as well. I'm adding to that and saying other people are suffering as well. In fact, every beautiful thing has some kind of pain. It's just a good line. And it's something that I forget often, that it's easy to look at someone and just write them off as being plastic, or, you don't know what it's like. You're in the bubble. You're in the bubble where everything goes right for you. But that's not true. That bubble doesn't exist. Number 27. I got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. This is from Maggie's Farm. And I often feel like this, where I have a million ideas and they're all banging around in there, and they don't come out until the idea is done. Until like it's an idea for like a cover song. I'm gonna make a cover song. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna have these instruments. I'm gonna do it slow where the original is fast. And that all is up there just until I get it out. And I feel like that's something that everybody kind of relates to. I got a head full of ideas and they're driving me insane. And I'm sure Dylan did. He probably held some kind of record for the most number of albums produced in a lifetime, or he will, maybe. He's got like 80 albums or some shit. It's insane. He's got to be going insane. Number 26. They tell me everything is going to be all right, but I don't know what all right even means. This is from the song Trying to Get to Heaven. It's a beautiful song, and there's something sort of optimistic and cynical about this line, where he says, people keep telling me it's going to be all right, which is nice. Like, that's what you do, right? You tell your friends things are going to be okay, but I don't even know what all right even means. Like, I don't even know what I want from this. So first of all, how do they know that they have the ability to tell me it's going to be all right when I don't even know what all right is? But also, I don't know what I want. It's sort of vague, it's ambiguous, but it's truly relatable on a level that I haven't seen very often in music or entertainment in general. Number 25. I know it looks like I'm moving, but I'm standing still. This is another one from Not Dark Yet. I feel like this all the time. I know it looks like I'm doing a lot, but in my head, it's moving really slowly. And then all of a sudden I wake up and it's been 6 months or whatever. It's so strange how accurately this defines life for me. That I know it looks like I'm moving, but I'm just standing still. I feel like things are happening to me. I don't even feel like I'm doing anything. I feel like stuff is just kind of occurring around me and affecting me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but damn, I do. Number 24. Alone you stand with nobody near, when a trembling distant voice unclear startles their sleeping ears to hear that somebody thinks they really found you. So nobody's around, but you're hearing a voice that unclear startles your sleeping ears. So your ears are asleep, whatever that means, and a voice comes to you when you're alone. And it says somebody thinks they've really found you. I don't know, man. There's something very sort of scary, but also warm about that, comforting. That like, it's terrifying to hear someone when you think you're alone. But somebody thinks they really found you. They know you. They've understood you. I love It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. It's so good. It's very rich. Number 23. Freedom just around the corner for you, but with the truth so far off, what good will it do? This is another one from Joker Man, which is a good song. Easy listening. If you don't pay attention to it, you might just sort of bop and you're like, that's a good song, but it's got some good lyrics in it. This is great too. This person, Joker Man, is very close to obtaining his freedom, but with the truth so far away, it's not going to do him any good. I don't know what that specifically means or how I could relate to that, but it's very deep. It's very powerful. It moves me emotionally, even without fully understanding it. I feel moved. Number 22. I've been all around the world, boys. Now I'm trying to get to heaven before they close the door. This is from the song Trying to Get to Heaven. This is one of the choruses. And man, I just love the motif, the image of trying to get to heaven before they close the door. It's like living life rough and on the edge, and you're just trying to do it before heaven runs out of room, I guess. It's just such an interesting image. Before they close the door. And maybe they're closing the door because they don't like the way we're acting down here. Maybe that's what it is. Eventually they're just going to get sick of us and stop letting us in. Bob Dylan famously rode a motorcycle pretty recklessly around, and even got into a really, really bad accident at one point. I wonder if this is partially inspired by that. So yeah, this has been part 4 of the 101 best Bob Dylan lyrics of all time. Consider checking out our podcast, The Media Lunch Break, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here and check out our videos. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.